So let's make the Y carriage. This will go together in a similar way to the X carriage. It's a little bit simpler. There's a few less parts, but we will need some araldite for this one, which is extra to what we would normally use with the MEK. So we'll start with this part. We're just going to prepare this. So again, we're just going to need a little surface to do some gluing on. As you can see up here, we've got a few different machine screws, and I'll go through those when we need to. But we might just start with these M3 by 12 flatheads. I'm just going to put all 4 of them in these 4 middle holes. And we might just put a little bit of tape on the back of this, just to hold them in place for the moment. Just a scrappy bit of tape there. Flip that over. So now it's going to all stay together. So we're going to take this part here and put it over those 4 holes, and put these little spaces, one on each of those as well. And we're just going to glue those in place. Now this little bracket here will only go in one position, so it, yeah, you don't have to worry about orienting it in the wrong way. Okay, so we'll wait for that to dry. Okay, so I'm going to bend up this other striker. This one has to be slightly different, slightly shorter than the other one in its shank. So I'm just going to loop this around. Doing what we did last time. And I'm going to measure 5 mil from there, from the shank. That'll do. Doesn't have to be exact. And bend that up. So after we've bent up the striker, we can start to assemble the other components on this carriage. So these 2 little brackets here, you might be wondering why they're 2. They're slightly different sizes. I've made one which is slightly bigger, which has got an L on it, and one that's slightly smaller, that's got an S on it for small, large and small. Now they're tiny, tiny, tiny right down here in the corner. So if you try one and it's too big, then try the other one. If you try the other and it's too small, again, use the bigger one. So I'm just going to take this one. We'll see whether that fits. This is a small one, and it seems to be fine. And I'm going to pop the little square nut in there, and one of the 16 mil button heads in here. Now that the original picture, I started out with 3 of these 16 mil button heads. You actually need 4 of them. You should have 4 in your pack. So we might just start laying up these bearings like we did last time. And I'll probably just fast forward through this section. Okay, so now we can just tighten these ones up to about the right force. So that these still spin freely but don't have any wobble in them. Seems about right. Now we're gonna just pop these out. They should be stuck by now. I'll just allow that to dry. And we've got to put the magnets, stick the magnets on these little etched areas here. Now the important thing to remember with these magnets is that they are polar, and that if you orient them in the wrong way, given that these magnets are what hold the build platform onto the machine, so if they go on the wrong way, they'll repel rather than attract the build platform. So it's probably, well, it's good to be rigorous about this, and we're going to put them on in the same direction. So they're stuck together in a line like this. So we're just going to make sure that they are oriented in the same direction. Now I'm just going to mix up a little bit of araldite. It's important to make sure that your glue is actually mixed in really well. There. Try and keep the glue in the center of these rings. I'll grab these magnets and put one on here. Now they do like to attract to whatever bit of metal there is close by. So once we've got it on there, I'm just gonna, well, this one seems to be holding quite nicely, so I might just leave that there. Oh, now I haven't got the orientation right, so you can see that repelling this. I've got it around the wrong way, so that's attracting. Squish that out there, and again make sure it's attracting, and squish that on here. This one might need a bit of tape on it to hold it in place, because it'll slowly try and creep its way towards those two machine screws. It's already creeping. There we go. I'm just going to stick that there to hold it in place. Now I've actually used super strength araldite, which takes a long time to set, so or to harden. So I'm just going to tape these in place, and then we can continue on building these. You're probably much better off using a 5-minute araldite instead, although this will the super strength araldite will actually be a bit more resilient. They do tend to break off if you get any flex in these in the parts. Now that these are taped down, we can thread these three in. Our M5 by 8 button heads. And just to keep everything together, just going to push all of those through. And we can screw fix that to the back. So this 5mm flathead, M3 flathead, just goes in this corner hole, and this one sits in here, and we'll get this last hex nut and pop that on there and tighten it up. So it's going to sit in something like that. And this part, well, when the glue dries, it's ready to go.